Essentials families. My name is Beth Ray, and myself and Matt Gaddis are going to be your Essentials tutors for this year. We are so excited. Matt and I met with all the other tutors today. We had a wonderful time discussing your kiddos and what we're going to be doing this year. But Matt and I really wanted to give you all a video that you could reference at any point that talks about what all of this stuff is that you have ordered and make sense of all the books and kind of how to organize everything. We're going to have all of our own personal items that will be at orientation night for you to look through to see if you just need to put eyes and hands on how we organize our own classrooms at home for Essentials. But it's a lot to take in that night. There's really no super simple way to go about it. So we figured a video where you could come back to it when you needed to or when you had the mental capacity to would be probably better for you all. So this is just a video to show you guys how to make sense of your stuff, what you need for the first day, and how a little bit of how we organize it at home as well. But again, we'll have this stuff that you can put hands on orientation night on August 1st. We cannot wait to meet you. So let's get started. So we're going to talk about 3 basic things. We're going to talk about charts. We're going to talk about something we call analytical task sheets, which we refer to as ATSs. And we are going to talk about your IEW, which is the writing portion of the class. So none of this has to make any sense to you content-wise yet. So don't get too caught up in when you're looking at it, knowing what it means. You don't need to know that now. That's what we're here for. What we want though is to give you an idea of how to set everything up and what goes where. So I have taken all of my stuff apart over time and put it where I think fits best. So we're gonna start with charts. Okay, when you hear the word chart, what we're talking about are these beautiful things. And charts you will find in the solutions manual of, you should have received for EEL, which is the grammar portion of what we do. The curriculum, this beautiful thing, the student packet, and the solutions manual. So in the solutions manual, you will find these beautiful green charts. And it's like A through, I don't even know the last letter. But it's just all of these green charts that are all filled in. Now, this is really important for our class and for your student to have with them in class. You might find that you may want to make yourself some copies too. We reference these. These are a requirement to have in class. They will definitely need these. So what you can do is you can take those out of your solutions manual, make some copies of those, and that way you can keep your originals somewhere else where they're safe. But here's my son's folder that he takes to school. And this is just for Essentials. So here are his charts. We put them in page protectors, okay? Now, keep in mind, it might be helpful to know, let's see, I think they're front and back in your guide. I would actually copy them separately. So, but here, you just put them in here. Your kiddo will take all of their charts to class every Monday. So that's what charts are. You don't need to know anything else about them, okay? But they need to come with your kiddo. And like I said, maybe have a copy for yourself. Put the originals, file those away somewhere. But yes, you do want to have all of your charts. Now, there are blank charts that your student will use at home. Do not need to take the blank charts to class. The blank charts are in the student packet. Okay, so the student packet has the blank charts, editing exercises, which we'll talk about in a minute. But here's what the blank charts look like. So it looks like the other charts, but they're blank hence blank charts, okay? Now, what I did with these, made black and white copies. Keep your originals, again, somewhere else that's safe. Keep it all together. But your student will be practicing these, like starting week 1 with chart A, and just copying it down from their green chart onto here. You can have multiple copies of these for them to fill out and then they can throw them away. But I could not suggest more. These amazing guys. These are called Pocket Pros. You can find them on Amazon. Here's a package I bought of all different colors. They're so cute and fun. Here's what's great about them. As opposed to sheet protectors and even laminated blank charts, because you could laminate those if you wanted to, so that you don't have to keep making copies. These guys erase beautifully with dry erase markers. They erase super, super clean. I wear these out at my house. They're great for anything you don't want to have to keep making copies of. So, but here's the good news. You don't have to make blank copies if you don't want to. I will have a ton that I created for my kiddos that I don't need anymore. I'm gonna have those at orientation night, hopefully. If not, definitely the first Monday of school. They'll be out there for you to kind of collect if you want to. So if the blank charts, if it helps you, put it out of your mind. Order Pocket Pros from Amazon, and then you can pick up your blank charts when you come in on Monday for them to practice on at home. So green charts, they need to come to school with every Monday. Blank charts can stay home, but they're really, really great to practice at home with. Okay, is there anything else about charts? Oh, you might have also seen trivium tables. If you didn't see this and this is overwhelming, just if you have your green charts with you, that's fine. Trivium tables in CC are just these nice, fancy, thick, kind of like a quick guide to go to. So this is actually that first chart I told you, but it actually has a number of charts on it. That if that's easier for your kid at home, I wouldn't necessarily bring this to class. It won't quite look like the others. I mean, you could, but I would bring the green charts just because it will look exactly like what we're using in class. But yeah, but there are these. We have this, but to be honest with you, I have never utilized it. We've just used our green charts. But if you have it, it's not a waste because you never know what's going to work out for your kid. All right, so that's the trivium tables. As far as the editing exercises, so that's the other part of your student packet that you ordered. So the editing exercises, I would recommend, certainly if you want your kiddo to do those, if you're a first year essentials parent, they can. There's editing that we do on their papers, so we don't really do those editing exercises in class. That's purely extra for you to do at home. So that's really up to you. If I had it to do over again, I made a bunch of copies of those. I should have held off and waited until I had a second or third year kiddo that was going through essentials. So you'll hear us refer to first year, second year, or third year tours. You'll also see that on some of like the curriculum. That just means if it's the child's second year in essentials or third year taking essentials. Sometimes it like is a little more difficult or more challenging and that sort of stuff. If this is your first year, I would just hold on to those editing exercises, see if you feel like you need those, but otherwise, just keep those on the back burner for now is probably what I would recommend. The curriculum guide that you got with all those beautiful tabs that says week 1, week 2, week 3. Okay, so those are really great to have at a glance. I removed all of the first pages of each week and I have them put in here. And I have these with my weekly stuff that I go over with my kids. because it goes through all of just everything we're covering in essentials for that week in a really simplified form. Now, beyond each of these pages, you will find the things that you need to read in order to be prepared for your week as a parent. You technically don't need to bring this to class. We do very, very strongly recommend that you read the lessons before class. It will make class be more of a second round of learning for you, for sure, if you're a first year, and second and third. You never know what you're going to pick up whenever you read it again. But so yeah, for all of your weeks 1, week 2, I would read those ahead of time for sure. Very helpful. But these little guys are great. And that's just right at the beginning of each week. And I just pull them out because it's easier for me to reference. So that is your curriculum. And I'm trying to think if there is anything else. There is tools that you'll find. That's actually for IEW. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so I've covered that. All right, charts. Done with charts. Your analytical task sheets. Okay, really all that means is a sheet where we take a sentence and we write it down on the sheet and we break that sentence apart, parse it, diagram it, however you want to say it. That's what ATS, analytical task sheets, do. They look like this, all right? And your analytical task sheets are, let me see, these are in your student packet. If you want to print a bunch of these off for you to work on sentences at home, each week, do you see right here? Weekly sentences. Those are sentences you do at home. We'll obviously go through those on Monday, or we'll go through sample ones that are very similar. And then at home, you read those off to your kiddo. They're supposed to write it down up here, and then we do the check boxes. Again, you don't have to worry about that right now. So this is what we're referring to in analytical task sheets. It's the diagramming of sentences. So I personally don't use these blank ones. I use analytical task sheets from CC Connected. So if you get on CC Connected, and after you log in, at the top of your screen, you'll see Scribblers, Foundations, and then I believe Essentials is going to be the next tab. Click Essentials, and then one of the options that will show up, it'll be week 1, week 2, week 3. So select, for example, week 1. You will find under week 1 a box that you can select that says Onward. Think of Onward as an online magazine with a ton of resources and blank worksheets and things that you can use and print at home. It's way more than you need, but it's everything you could possibly need. Well, within that little Onward magazine for each week is analytical task sheets that are already filled out at the top with the student's sentence of the week. The reason why I print those off as opposed to having the student write it is your kiddo is going to be doing a lot of writing. And the goal of this particular exercise is not necessarily writing, handwriting, dictation. It is to learn how to diagram sentences. So if that's the goal, that's what I have my kiddo focus on, not necessarily trying to write. So here's an example. This is from week 3. We won't be doing this until week 3, so don't print these out yet. Well, you can starting on week 3. Week 1 and 2 for first year students, you're not doing any diagramming of sentences. So second and third year students, there are some on there for weeks 2 and 3, but for first year, don't worry about it. So if on the Onward, once you select that, if you go to week 3, and you just scroll down, scroll down, scroll down on that little online magazine, you'll see these. And you can print those off so they're already written out for your kiddo. And then here is all of the question and answer flow things that we do. So that is what ATS is, all right? I know it feels like a lot. It'll make so much more sense once we get started. But I just wanted to let you know they have ones where the sentence is already written in. It's really helpful for kiddos because sometimes, I know it seems like a small thing, but sometimes, it just takes a drop in the bucket to make it overflow. So I print those off for my kids and I put it in their folder. So again, here's Dawson's right at the beginning. We went over this. He's got all of his charts. And then at home, here's his analytical task sheets for the first 6 weeks, or it's what I printed off. Now, the one thing that I didn't realize until well into halfway through my year was not all of the sentences on Onward do you have keys for, which you really do need those teacher keys. Now, the teacher keys are found, because they're in a different place, of course. That's the way it works. Let's see. Is it the solutions manual? I think it might actually be in your curriculum. Let me see. Yeah, they're in the solutions manual, okay? So in your solutions manual are all of the answers to those sentences and how to parse them out, and it gives you a key for them. So like for, this isn't the first sentence because that one was Tom jumped, but here's one, Jesus forgives. But it gives your question answer flow. Again, don't worry about it. Question answer confirmation, we'll talk about it. But this just gives you a whole script and how it's diagrammed and all that beautiful stuff. Those are in your solutions manual. I pulled all of those out and I have them just right alongside me while my child is doing his analytical task sheets. It's just too many books to have open all at once. So I pulled all of those out, put them in page protectors so that my originals are protected, and I have them separate from all the other stuff. And then I just store all the other stuff that I have not used. So, but on Onward, you will see, and this is actually great for second and third tour kids, there are 10 sentences, maybe even a little bit, but at least 10 on there. You only have 5 sentences about, I think, that you have these keys for. So just make sure if you're a first year or second year, I'd even say the ones that you're printing are the ones that you have keys for, okay? And the easy way to do that, actually, instead of going to the keys, is just to look at this and make sure, oh, here's my sentences. When I go and print those off on Onward, I want to make sure this is what the sentences say. Jesus forgives, Tom jumped, the volcano erupted, Caesar boldly invaded, and the mighty Lord saved. Because again, those are the only ones you have teacher keys for. Okay, all right. So that is ATS, Analytical Task Sheets, breaking down sentences. Okay. All right, so now we are going to move into what we call IEW. That stands for the Institute for Excellence in Writing. And so our class is broken into 3 big sections. You have the EEL, which is the grammar. It's what we discuss, the charts, the diagramming of sentences, all that fun stuff. We also do a little fun math game, which I know what you're thinking. How in the world can math be fun in the midst of all of this and actually be a mental break for the kids? But it is, because we play games and it's so much fun. So we do a little bit of math to use a separate part of their brain, and we have a blast with that. So even if you don't have a strong math kid, don't worry about it. It's not what you're thinking. It's fun. Okay, and then we jump into writing. It's just the most wonderful curriculum in the world. Okay, so for writing, you will have purchased this, Teaching Writing Structure and Style. This doesn't technically need to come with you to class. I will be referring to it sometimes. Mr. Matt might. However, I cannot emphasize enough how much I recommend you read these when we are in the units we're in. We are going to be covering the first Monday of CC. We're going to be covering units 1 and 2, all right? So unit 1, unit 2. It is so incredibly good. And I promise you, if you will read this before you start, your days at home that first week of helping your kiddo create outlines for their paper and make a rough draft, it will be so much better. I do want to say my first year, I read the first 2 units, and there's a part in there where they talk about public speaking, and I thought that had to do with this helps them later on in the challenge years. It's going to be great for public speaking, but really what you're looking at in here is how they use what they call a source text. Source text is the text that we use to write off of. So the first few weeks of school, we are reading a text based on an ancient historical story or fact. And we're reading over it, we're picking out the best things, and we're kind of writing papers, mini summaries. Sometimes we're expanding thoughts. Anyway, but it's based on those source texts. So in here, he gives you example of fun source texts that are like about lice and spiders and stuff and lizards, and it's just kind of fun for you to read over, and it just helps break it down. Those aren't the source texts we're going to be using. The source texts we're going to be using are from these beautiful books. So that's what this is. This is the source text for our papers. This explains how we use those to write papers and how, as a parent, you can help them, teach them, learn with them to write very well. I'm so excited. Okay, the other thing I would really highly recommend, I just actually read through this just a few weeks ago, and I so wish I would have read it. I so wish I would have read it my first and second year. I think I need to read this like every week, guys. In the appendix of this book, on page 199, the 4 deadly errors of teaching writing. Can y'all see how many things? Can you see the highlights? That's how good this is. I am telling you, we would have had so much more of an encouragement-based class at home if I would have read this ahead of time. Less tears, less frustration, and real life expectations, and really focusing on the goal of what we're doing, which is entirely about the process, not the product. So that's kind of hard for us mamas and dads to accept, that we're not looking for excellent papers. We're looking for an understanding of the process of writing. And when you're expecting excellent papers and the process is difficult, that just makes it all very hard. So I cannot recommend that enough. There's also an article in the back. It's the very next one after that one, that is marking and grading. Again, read it. Third year parents, read it. I am telling you, it's so good. All right, so that is teaching writing structure and style. Those things you need to be reading whenever we cover a new unit. It won't be every week that we do a new unit. There's a number of units where we spend 2 or 3 weeks on. So you're not having to read that every week. It's just when a new unit comes up. But we'll let you know that as the tutors whenever you need to make sure to read that. There is also videos that are fantastic that go along with it by Andrew Pudwa. You will hear people talk about Pudwa all the time. That's him. He's a celebrity with CC. Anyway, it's videos of him and it's fantastic. We really encourage parents to watch those. In the past, we had group nights where we would try to encourage families to come and watch those videos all together. But with everybody's schedule, it's so hard to do. So Matt and I are going to be sending you links to those videos that you can watch in your own time, in your PJs, with a pen and paper in hand, so you can be fully prepared to teach your kid. It's gonna be great. All right, so that's teaching writing structure and style. These, like I said, are the text we're using in order to write our papers. And you have your teacher's manual here. This can stay home unless you want to you can bring it to class if you want to, but this is very helpful when you're writing outlines because it gives you sample outlines of the source text if you're having trouble helping your kiddo make outlines for their papers. Your kids have to bring these to class. All right. So again, what do we need to take to class? Definitely the student book for ancient history-based writing and their green charts. If you bring nothing else, those two we need in class. So that's what we need. And those, I'm not even gonna open it. We don't even need to get into that right now. But that's what that is. You will see or talk about people, We don't talk about people. We don't gossip. This is portable walls. You'll hear people referring to this. I just want you to see that this is what it is. So whenever you purchase this book, there's a blue page at the front. Looks like this. And there's all sorts of helpful things on here. Links to stuff that you can go and get. One of those links takes you to a bunch of pages that gives you, again, don't worry about this if this is your first year, but it gives you tools to help your student in their writing that are really helpful. We'll discuss those later. This is basically those tools, but just in something that's all together that you could have on your kitchen table when they're writing, putting in ly adverbs, real strong verbs instead of weak verbs. There's a whole list. So it just has a lot of things in here in one simple place that's made of something that's durable. But that's what we call a portable wall. Matt is going to be sending you guys at some point a link to a file where you can print a bunch of that stuff off if you would rather do that and put it in sheet protectors and have that with all of your other stuff that you use every day. But when people mention portable walls, this is what they're talking about. Not required. You're gonna be fine if you don't have it. Don't freak out. Okay, now if you really like to know the plan of the year, this next part is for you. If you really don't want to look that far ahead, that's okay. Just ignore what I'm about to say. This essentials and English language. So this is, I know it's super small, but it's basically the schedule for the whole year for EEL and for IEW. So again, EEL is grammar, IEW is writing. Excuse me. Okay, so you will find this schedule on Onward, week 1. It's the very last page, okay, on Onward, if you wanted to print that off. So if you don't care to print that off and you just want to know, can you just tell me, are we skipping any lessons? Because I don't want to look at those if we're not even going to do them. Here's the lessons we're not doing from this. Okay? Lesson 3, 15, 19, and 23. All right. That's what I got. And that's how our stuff is somewhat organized. Again, I'm sure it will help you so much to be able to see these things on orientation night and actually look and see how we've organized it. But that's the things you have. That's the essential things that we use all the time in our home. So no worries. You're going to be fine, and we're going to help all of you guys make sense of it all, and it's going to be a great year. We can't wait to meet you, and I hope this was helpful for you to kind of reference back whenever you need help finding the things that you need and organizing the things that you need. Let me see if there's anything else. No, I don't think so. No. Everything else is just going to muddy your brain. You don't need that right now. So, okay. I think that's it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your summer and cannot wait to see you all at school.